really make the whole experience that much better.
You know, the name of the event is 2025. And what we're trying to, in most of the panels, what we're trying to draw for our audience is how these topics will look like, how these fields of interest would look like in 2025. Now, Bob, you said, for example, look, I'm in this business for 15 years, which is even worse in the video business than dog years, right? So you're probably something like 150 years old. And and you've seen all the problems and issues with video over open internet, but now things are stable. So now I see you in 30 frames per second, and maybe in 2 years I will see you in, I don't know, 60 frames per second, full HD, in my regular, my regular cable modem without any unique or special technology, and with a webcam that costs $10. That will be cool. However, at the end of the day, there is a bigger question. Is that it? Right? I mean, are we looking eventually at the end of innovation of online collaboration? Or there is a future out there that is beyond the basic delivery of reliable video, which was the biggest barrier, as you say, it was the bigger barrier of entry for online collaboration to both enterprise and to what Ilan is doing, right? I mean, if the internet was not, if a bandwidth was not stable enough or wide enough, all the great ideas that Ilan is implementing would have been just, a pipe dream, and it would never reach my mother, for example. So what is the huge next innovation we should look at as the next field?
Well, I don't think we're done with innovation by any means. I think we just scratched the surface, as I said before. To me, what's interesting about it is, we talked a lot about asynchronous collaboration, email maybe being the least synchronous, through more interactive type of groupware products and that sort of thing. But when you really talk about synchronous collaboration, then you're talking about the voice, video, and data experience. Because to me, what you want to try and recreate is exactly what happens when you're in a physical meeting. And that's where I think we're going to see some great innovation. So the reality of it is today, we can integrate and do integrate voice, data, presentation, and video capability, but they're still kind of static in the windows, in terms of how it's presented. The data isn't very rich. It's, pretty much just see what I see, and yes, I can make some annotation or maybe, collaborate a little. The video's in a separate window somewhere. What I envision is getting to the type of environment like the Second Life environment, or some of the applications like Via has Web Alive, where you come in and you're in a virtual world, and it's like a virtual conference room, or it might be a virtual, entertainment room, and you hear people spatially from where they're talking at the right level. People are whispering, and you physically, you start to employ things like 3D technologies. You physically have much more feeling of being in the room and truly collaborating. There's all kinds of technological and user experience innovations that can be done there, and that's what we'll start to see.
I really hope that regarding the 3D, I won't need to be a very tall blue guy, but yes, Ilan. So I hope I don't need to, connect to trees or something strange like that. Ilan, you're trying to do something that is in a completely different area. How do you see the future? Where are we looking at?
Yeah, I agree with most of the things that Bob said. I don't. Personally, I don't like the 3D worlds. I don't see them as the future. I see much more the video conferencing and maybe 3D video conferencing. I know a company is doing right now webcams in 3D, and I hope to see more of that. But I think the most innovative thing that can come in the next few years and in the next decade or so is more, as Bob said, in the user experience, in the user interface, doing stuff that are much more intuitive for the user, that are much more simple. And also, we didn't talk about it yet, but moving to the cloud, the Scopia desktop, for example, is a download application. I want things to be much more simpler, just entering a website, clicking a button, and start using it without needing to download anything, hopefully without needing to connect any webcams, and having these headphones on, being much more much more like real life. We're currently I'm looking at Bob right now, and I don't look him at the eyes right now. I look him, his head is towards down. I want to see a webcam in the screen that looks right to me, and people can just talk like we talk when we're in offline meetings. That's the sort of stuff that I want to see more simpler integration for the users. I don't see it in adding more, as Bob said, adding more applications and adding more ways to collaborate. We already have it, and I think the level of audio and video is pretty good right now. We're using Adobe's technology of peer-to-peer, and it's really good. It's really, really good. Nothing that it was like a few years ago, and I think that I'm sure we didn't reach the optimum point of it, and I'm sure there will be more better ways to do it. But I would like to see the innovation come from the user experience, from the user interface.
How do you see the role of location in online collaboration? I mean, we talked about the fact that location is supposed to be obsolete, right? We're going to have all these cool technologies and 3D and the ability to touch the interface and, I don't know, lick the computer and have the feeling, the sensation of the guy from the, or girl, okay, from the other side. But when we're talking about location, I can tell that, for example, there are a lot of applications now that are taking the whole concept of online collaboration to a different direction. Do any of you use Foursquare today?
No.
No?
No, it's not. Okay, it's not really big in Israel.
Okay, so Foursquare, I will get you to the right gang, Ilan. Foursquare, what's so special about it is that people are actually tagging physical location. And when I'm going into a restaurant, I can see that someone is, for example, left me a virtual note in this place saying you really have to eat this specific dish. It's awesome in this restaurant. Or when and in one case, of course, the monetization is very simple. When I go to one restaurant and I check in through the application, say I am here now, the application tell me yes, but you know, a couple of the store next door has a 10% discount on the same dish that you eat all the time. So please leave this place that you're at now. But you know what? One of the things that really interests me, and I'd like to hear your opinion about it, is how we are actually do connect the physical world and the virtual world in order to collaborate. Because think about it, of course, in Ilan's case, it's very, very, very clear, because then I can do all the other stuff I talked about, but with video,
you
right?
Can tell me about it? I'm not sure if it's that clear. I don't have a good answer for that.
Because, for example, I can go into...
I have some thoughts on it. So one of the interesting things, I mean, location-based services or location-aware environments, I think, is going to become very important. And if you take a look at video conferencing and the way it's been, even today, it's very device-oriented. You go into a conference room, you sit in front of a Polycom or a Tandberg or a Lifesize or a Radvision endpoint, and you have a video conference. It's even also very tied to your PC, if you will, whether it be on your desk or your laptop. And a laptop helps with mobility, but even that is a bit nomadic, not really truly mobile. With the advent of mobile devices, truly mobile devices that are instant on and don't require sitting down and focusing them and all the rest of it, I think we're going to start to see much, much more ability to integrate specific location-based services into it. You really, at the end of the day, the goal here in my mind is much like the cell phone. You don't call a place, you call a person. The cell phone gave you the ability to call people wherever they are. I think video and collaboration in general needs to get to the same place, where in essence you're calling a person, and that person can be anywhere and collaborate from anywhere, and it becomes much less device specific and much more personal. And therefore, wherever the person is and the location capabilities of it can get integrated into that experience.
Yeah, so we're looking at people going, walking with a tag cloud around them, virtual tag cloud, right? Because wherever they are, they have their device independent, just like in my iPhone and iPod and Mac and all these different